All right. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We've got MAXPAX in the top right of the map, SERRAL in the bottom left, and SERRAL does not see a probe coming in, so he's going to go for one more drone. That is a 16 hatchery opening after 15 Overlord, the new optimized opening Lambo did a video about, and it's a good way to start off Amygdala, a best of 5 series against MAXPAX. It's the upper bracket, round of 4 here of the Masters Coliseum, and a tournament that has really been delivering fantastic games. And I think we can thank Clem for off-racing Protoss, dropping a single best of 3, and then unluckily not getting through the group stage because of that, due to having lost to head-to-head. And that's opened up the whole playing field, hasn't it? You know? I mean, he would have been the big final boss, but now we see guys like SERRAL, MAXPAX, Hero Rainer playing in these upper bracket semi-finals. There's a losers bracket as well, and there's a best of 9 grand final. So we have so many more good games over this coming week for us all to watch. MAXPAX is looking favored to potentially win the whole tournament. Why? Because he does very well against Hero. He does very well versus Rainer. And it's all about, can MAXPAX beat SERRAL? That's the big question. I think there's a lot of people out there, Zerg players especially, say, yeah, of course he can. Protoss is Imba now. Mothership, unabductable. Cloaking Field is ridiculous. Time Warp is so good at... No, it doesn't kill stuff. But it's just this big bubble that slows movement and attack speed. You throw it down and the Zerg just has to run away, which is in of itself really powerful, not to mention recall for repositioning. MAXPAX is no longer a gateway man. He can play Oracle into Stalkers, into double upgrades, into Storm, into attacking in 2 or 3 places, controlling the map and expanding at the same time. And it feels like his openings are rock solid. So for me, my eyes are on how does SERRAL catch him off guard? How does he get queens across the map and break his third? How does he Nidus Worm and hide that in the back corner of the main? Because if you're not finding a way to disrupt MAXPAX and you just go to late game, I don't have high hopes for SERRAL to take him down. Now, who knows? It's SERRAL. I'm not counting him out completely, because SERRAL is the god of Zerg vs Protoss late game at every single meta he's ever played in. He's always been able to beat the best Protoss players in the late game, but recently it has been a mini game of how can SERRAL kill them in the mid game. We've seen Mass Roach Hydra drops from him, we've seen Nidus Worms, we've seen if he goes Lurkers, he's kind of rushing into them and trying to kill the Protoss with Nidus Worm in the back, Lurker push on the front. So SERRAL is very much trying to kill Protoss. What we haven't seen from him so much though is like quick all-ins, right? We haven't seen Ling Bane busts. We haven't really seen Ling Floods because the Oracle energy is so good. But we also haven't seen a lot of Queen Walks or Queen Unloads, right? The German taxi, bring the Speeder Lord, drop Queens on the front and get him with the Ravager Ling. If he can get a win with a strategy like that, I might demand MAXPAX plays a little bit safer around the 4 to 5 minute mark, where normally I feel like he's so unworried about anything Zerg can do. And isn't that crazy, guys? I mean, don't get me wrong. People will go like, look, at this point, we're just trying to nerf SERRAL and make it so people can beat him. On the other hand, I think it's good for that to always be changed, and I think there's going to be missteps and mistakes this way and that. And I do feel like right now the matchup feels very Protoss favored, but there's always a recency bias, and it means, hey, matchup got better for Protoss, but who knows, maybe it was a bit bad for Protoss before that. Is that true? I don't really think so, but maybe that's just me being used to the status quo, you know? Hard to separate your own personal feelings from the reality. We're going to just see what the players do, what they bring out, and I do think MAXPAX's biggest weakness is his predictability normally. And as I say that, he goes Robo into Twilight. Whoa, guys, he's playing Archon drop. Old school, baby. He's going single Oracle into Archon drop. Oh, now why do I know that? Because he went Robo first, guys. No Forge. This is not a Blink opening. You do not open Blink like this. So he's going to go Templar Archives. Yeah, 4 gateways. So 4 gateways. He's going to Chrono a Prism out. He's going to make a Templar Archives, warp in 4 High Templar over here, somewhere in the middle area where they can't get surrounded. And he's just going to start harassing with that. And the reason he does this is SERRAL's so good at defending with 5 Queens, 2 Spore Crawlers, could even build a 3rd one in the 3rd, which he will. SERRAL's playing so safe first air. And MAXPAX is like, look, he's going to play safe no matter what. Just by showing an Oracle, I'm going to get a big response. Building a 2nd and 3rd Oracle is not really going to achieve that much. So let's skimp on it. Let's go straight to a bit more dynamic of a harassment force. Why is it dynamic? Different. It demands more of a, you need roaches basically to defend the Archon drop. A whole bunch of queens, a couple of roaches. It's going to force you into a different situation. And charge does come in as well, as you can see. Prism's about to come out. Templar Archives halfway done. Do expect a quick 6 gases from MAXPAX. And I would imagine we're going to see Immortal production very soon as well. Like Observer next and then Immortal. But actually, he might be delaying this because he wants 600 gas. Notice how Templar Archives is done. You need 600 gas to make 4 High Templar. And he's timed this out really well. Look at that. Oh, he just cancelled something to get a bit of gas back, you could see. Interesting. I think he cancelled charge. Yeah, he cancelled charge, warped in the High Templar, then he restarts charge. Very cute, very cute. Oracle cleaning up creep tumors on the right side as well. SERRAL has 9 roaches on the way, and he's building a 6th and 7th queen. I love that response. 4 queens on the front. He's left 1 injecting in the main. He's building a new injecting queen on the natural and the 3rd. Oh, queen's taking some damage. You want to get her out of there, get her out of there. Oh, he does lose 1. You don't want to lose any queens here. SERRAL misses a transfuse. He had 50 energy there. He could have transfused. Bit sloppy. That's great damage to start. 2 queens going down for a bit of shields. Thanks, Circa, for the sub. Milky before that. Appreciate the subs, guys. If you're enjoying the games, please don't forget to check out the Patreon down below in the description. And really big thanks, by the way. We've hit 30,000 subscribers on the Pigcast YouTube channel. Put out a community post the other day for that, but I just want to say a massive thanks to everyone for subscribing and stuff. I know I normally don't ask people to subscribe, but yeah, I don't know. Like, subscribe. It helps. It does make a big difference. I think just watching the videos and commenting and enjoying them is usually the bigger thing, but you know, I hate watching a YouTube video where someone just, they're like, hey guys, we're going to talk about how to fix this thing. Here's 2 minutes of me talking about random stuff and how you should like and subscribe. I'm like, get to the friggin' value of the video, please. Anyways, I guess the value of this is me actually talking about the games rather than babbling, right? So I better listen to my own advice. Gets a drone, forces the pullback. Good response by SERRAL. Oh, he's doing it! German Taxi! German Taxi! I was talking about when he's got to do something like this to catch him off. But MAXPAX is going to have Storm ready. And with energy recharge available, he could be really good. It looks like he already used it on the Oracle, though, which means he doesn't have energy recharge available for a few more seconds. He's going to have to fill up one of these High Templar. How many Immortals has he got? He's got 2 Immortals. The Immortals are so big. They are the anchor to defend this. And a second Robo could help out a lot. He's already dropped a creep tumor out front. SERRAL starting to shift his way forward little by little. He wants to spread creep here as well. Lots of Ravagers morphing in the front. 34 Roaches. It's going to be 6 Ravagers momentarily, but you can see the Immortals already killed 1 Roach. He wants to set off the barrier. He sets off the barrier on 1 Immortal, but he does take a fair bit of damage as well. Oh, Storm! Storm lands on the Roach Ravager. Doesn't do that much. Second one kind of whiffs as well, only tickling a few of them. And I think breaching the natural wall would be really good. Ling Drop comes to the natural, but there's an Immortal and a cannon. Deal with it. He does quickly pick up, does SERRAL, and goes towards the main base. The High Templar are exposed. There's no more Storms left. There is a High Templar with a bit of energy, but the Stasis Trap, massive Stasis Trap, saves the day for MAXPAX. Yes, it protects the Roach Ravager from the Storm, but that buys him 21 seconds. SERRAL needs to pull back. He's got to get these Queens out of here. The Oracle did go down to the Queens. The Roach Ravager on the front needs to just pull back. I think he's just got to save these units until a bit later. Zealots warping in the main. Zergling's trying to unload there as well. Will it be enough to unload and overwhelm? Not with the probes helping out. Roach Ravager breaks out of that. Here we go. Archon's exposed on the front line. Nice Biles. He gets rid of an Archon. Does SERRAL. He's trying to kite. He's up 60 supply. Can he break MAXPAX here? The Immortal count is growing. And remember, energy recharge, 2 more Storms on the front line, just like that. These sort of builds, Storm used to be very bad at defending them because you'd run out of Storms and you'd never get any more Storms because the pace of the fight's too big. But these Storms are juicy. SERRAL's Roach on the top left gets caught out. Overlord is being cleaned up in the main as well. And remember, it's a long rally path across this map. The Roach Ravager struggling to micro, but that is now 6 Immortals, man. 6 Immortals is a crazy number. He's trying to bile across the backline. Great pickup dodges for MAXPAX. Great pickup dodges for MAXPAX. There's just not enough Roach Ravager, and this Zealot over here is actually doing pretty good damage as well. Biles coming in, can get rid of the Archon, that'd be nice, but of course MAXPAX with very slick pick up micro. Energy recharge is going to be ready in 15 seconds, which means 2 more Storms are going to come in momentarily, and he's about to be he's at 8 Immortals! He's at 8 Immortals! 64 probes against 61, and MAXPAX holds on. Amygdala's a big map, it's hard to kill a Protoss on this map. But I think SERRAL's got to be a little upset without that when he builds a Baneling Nest, he starts droning. He's now playing from behind, though. Even with a 4th hatchery up, if you're equal on drones, and they've already got 8 Immortals, soon to be 10, Psystorm, +2 coming in. I mean, it's a nasty situation to find yourself in. Sip of water there during the downtime. The moment of breathing room. Prism should probably pull out. Nice Zerglings around SERRAL. Cleans up the Zealot push really well. Problem is, Doesn't matter how good you are with your biles, that hatchery is about to disappear. Storm in the middle of the Ravages, very nicely done. Warps in Zealots in the main. This time MAXPAX does save those. Ling drop counterattack. Beautiful move. MAXPAX spots it. Insta warps in Stalkers. Nicely done. A couple Zealots going to warp in as well. Fourth hatchery, of course, just died behind this. The Stalkers not quite able to kill the Overlord. There we go. But Zealots clean up the Zerglings that already unloaded easily. Biles gonna go down, gets an Observer, but SERRAL, he's on 3 base, stuck on Ravagerling. He is screwed. Hats off to MAXPAX for stopping that push. One has to wonder if that stasis trap didn't land, would this have worked? Would he have been able to hold on? I'm not sure. I think it would have been a bit harder, for sure, to hold on. But I do think SERRAL maybe took a few more storms to the face they needed. The storm's so good because you want to run in a clump and focus the Immortals down. But that means you're clumping up for the Psy Storm. So you're kind of like, well, I want to run in, try to kill an Immortal, bait the Storm, pull back, dodge, and do that a few times. But every time you go in and out, these Immortals are landing pretty big hits. And you can see that first Storm landed really well. And this Stasis Trap in the back was brilliant. And just no Overseer on the front is a pretty big mistake. And SERRAL just clearly didn't see it. He's microing his Lings. He's trying to do... He did a double drop, by the way. He actually dropped the main and the natural. And actually overwhelmed the cannon with the +1 melee, which is cool. But that Stasis Trap was big, yeah. Do you imagine if he gets on top there, even tanking the Storm, if he kills the Immortals and Archons, it's game. That Stasis Trap is huge. And I did say a prediction a little while ago that within a few months, people are going to be raging at a Stasis Trap, saying this is a silly mechanic. Unfair, it's too good with the energy recharge now. It's a frustrating mechanic, so I have a feeling it's going to get nerfed in the next patch, whenever that ends up being, just due to the fact that we do see this. This happens here with SERRAL, but this happens so much in like mid-level games. It's crazy. Like, I've been spamming Stasis Traps like no tomorrow in my games, and they save my bacon so much. But great win for MAXPAX. Overall, really good hold, and hats off to him with the Prism Micro when he started saving these Immortals and Archons. Alright guys, MAXPAX in the bottom right side of the map, and it looks like he's gone down for a 13 pylon. Probe already moving across the map there, very early. Actually, not even a 13 pylon. I think this is just sent across at the very start of the game. Now, this is a 15 Overlord. SERRAL sends the drone down. He's going to see the probe come in, and he's going to have to go take a third. Unless he brings the Overlord back. Does he bring another drone? Nope. He's just going to go 17 hatchery on the third. Fair enough. Pig, did you play Marine Arena? The custom map. I'm sure I have. I can't even remember what the map is, though. Is that like Footman Frenzy? Wasn't that just like StarCraft's version of Footman Frenzy? Exclamation mark best games, exclamation mark bracket. People tune into this show every day, every week, saying, "Are these matches live?" It's called the best games of StarCraft for a reason. It's never live. It's never live. Thank you so much, Screamer, for the $16.89. Almost 6-9. Thank you very much for the love, mate. All right, guys. Gate Nexus, Probe Harass, nice and solid there. Abyssal Reef's a map covered in choke points. I do think as a Zerg, you got to be careful about taking this fourth base out here. This ledge, easily assailable. This area up here, very scary to engage with Storm. I mean, you can kind of flank from the right. You're going to need to be doing a lot of like surrounding, a lot of sneaky movement to make sure you don't get caught in a bad choke point, walking into storms and force fields. All right, MAXPAX finally going to finish stealing some minerals, get on out of there. And what does SERRAL go for? He's already used up like you know what was interesting is SERRAL's all-in's always like this. Like that last game, he opened with melee, then went for the max out, the big massive Roach Queen push. Like it wasn't, it was, I want to open solid. If you open Blinkstalkers, I've got the melee to deal with it. Like I can play a macro build from here. And that's the beauty of SERRAL's players. He's very reactive. Even with his all-ins, he kind of keeps them saved up and then only uses them if the situation is right. And I think he saw it wasn't a Blink style. He said, oh, Zealot style's normally not that good at defending this, but MAXPAX was very quick into the Immortals, the Archons, and the Storm. And maybe if SERRAL found a way to hit that 30 seconds earlier before Storm finishes, it's an entirely different game. Likewise, if he doesn't walk into the Stasis Trap, I think he gets the win as well. Adept coming forward now. All right, he's going to try and shade into the main base. Does he manage to take anything out? Good pullbacks on the Zerglings, and cancels the Shade and runs away. MAXPAX very responsible with that Adept, making sure it doesn't go down. Creep starting to connect these bases. Of course, the third hatchery is there, and MAXPAX just going to run backwards. Well, he's going to walk forwards, I should say. Gets a Zergling and Shades to safety. Oracle's coming out, and MAXPAX is going to keep an opening in the wall. Now, this is interesting, because when I play this map, I always just full wall the left side and leave an opening over here. But MAXPAX is going to, it looks like, go for a more traditional wall off and just kind of move through this opening in and out. And if he wants to, he can always just build an extra building up here, right? I don't think he can fit a 3x3, but he could maybe build 2 pylons to wall that off. Oracle's going to chase after the Zerglings up north. Okay, Spore Crawler's going up in the main at a pretty safe timing, but because Serral's already going back in, he might... Surely he can't get a cancel. No. Second Oracle's almost out, and the Nexus has so much shields and hit points. I mean, this is forcing even the first Oracle back, so pretty big respect for MAXPAX. He should go back. Energy recharge on the Oracle. And that's going to go forward and start harassing. He goes for a third and fourth gas here. No Robo this time. So you can see double Oracle. He's got the second gateway coming down with another pylon to finish the wall off. And the Oracles are going to harass. 2 Oracle into Twilight and Forge will be next up. And you can see those on the production tab. Just a single drone. Good way to do it. Make sure the Oracles don't take damage. This map has a lot of angles. You can come from here, here, here. Serral doesn't have great Overlord positioning. You know, he's got really good on the bottom left. He doesn't have an Overlord out here, though, and I do think that's a mistake. Oh, he leaves himself wide open. As I said, there's many angles. Serral can't be affording mistakes like that, man. StarCraft is a game of edges. Every little advantage matters. And that's huge. 4 drones on top of the one that he already killed before. Actually, sorry, it was 3 on top of the one that he killed, as it was close enough in time that it kind of added those numbers together. Roach Warren and second gas are on the way. Wait. So we've got quick fourth base, Roach Warren second gas, rock solid style for Serral. And I think we're going to see him go straight to Lurkers this game. I don't have a reasoning for it, other than the fact there's a lot of choke points on this map. If you don't have Lurkers, it can get nasty trying to push into a Protoss. Just a bit of a feeling I have here. Yeah, Evo Chamber goes down pretty early, 5.5. You can start working on +1 range with that. So looking pretty solid now. MAXPAX hasn't gone 6 gas just yet. He's about to go to 6 gateways. The question for me is, does he try to rush a 4th base? In the current meta, I don't think you need to rush a 4th as Protoss. I think you're better off chilling out, taking the 6 gases, adding some more tech. There's a lot of Stalkers warping in. 6 gases are up. Spire goes down. Okay, Serral. Interesting. It's, like I said, good angles to air harass from the main and the natural. So a small squad of mutas can be good. Serral's not really one to go mass muta. I think that's something that's kind of a lost art, is the mass mutalist play at this level of StarCraft. You could say, is it because the players aren't doing it well enough? Well, no, it's a lost art because Protoss players are so good at getting full base up with lots of Blink Stalkers, and it's very rare you can get your Mutalisks across the map without either dying to the Stalkers or having to have the Mutalisks get spotted and them just building a few cannons, batteries, making a couple Phoenix and making it redundant. So trying to just sneak 6 mutas across the map while mostly focusing on a normal style, you know, +1 range, Roaches, Ravagers. No doubt an Infestation Pit will go down after those Mutalisks start building as well. Lings do deny an attempt for a 4th base. Adept does go down. If you keep him on 3 base, it's not too bad as Serral. Like, it gives you time, but Stasis Trap Field getting set up on the front. Roach Ravagers Zergling gathering. Going to try to push back the Stalkers. Stalkers and Oracles, and the way these units harass is one of the most irritating things for a lot of players to deal with these days. One Stasis Trap gets set off. Second one does as well. The Stalker's just going to blink away. They get a bit of Zerg tax, but not that much. 4th Nexus goes up behind it. Charge as well. And interestingly, 4 more gateways. Wow. +2 attack and Psy Storm. So it's Stalker Storm into Zealot 10 gate 4th base. 10 Mutalisks are on the way. Let's go to MAXPAX's camera and see what he sees. Right now he's pulling home. Builds a cannon in his natural. He's aware of the threat of the Mutalisks, but he doesn't know about it. He hasn't confirmed it. He sees only 1 gas on the 4th base. If he saw both gases, I'm pretty sure he'd be ready for it. Builds another cannon and a battery. In his natural, one's already going up at his fourth. MAXPAX. You can see the way his camera's tracking the army of SERRAL. He's looking at it. He was thinking about cancelling a battery on his natural. He decided not to. His mutas must be on their way. Yeah, mutas are gathering down the bottom. There's only one cannon in that natural right now. The other ones aren't that close. Guys, the Mutalisks are going to sneak by into the main. Behind it, there is a hive started. A Hydrodent almost finished. It's going to be a Lurker transition behind this, but he's doing it with a wave of mutas to throw a MAXPAX off his game and look for some big damage. Mutalisk getting already 6 probes. Let's see what they go for. They actually attacked a Stalker there. Not the best micro. I feel like SERRAL could have killed 4 or 5 more probes. He's going to get 7, 8. Not bad. Not great either. And I think trying to run over those High Templar would have been a bit of bait. You know MAXPAX is going to storm you to death. You might get 1 or 2 High Templar, but losing all your Mutalisks is not really worth it. So he does end up losing, I think, one Mutalisk. But he gets pretty good damage. He's going to get Revelated, though. And that is going to allow MAXPAX to have a bit of peace of mind. Lurker Den on the way. Hive almost finished. Grooved Spines and Muscular Augments are both queued up, as well as +2 range. Now, with 8 gases, over 80 workers, SERRAL's looking good. But you need Spines to make sure you don't get delayed. Keeping the Mutas alive does make it hard for a Warp Prism to get across the map. You got to make sure this doesn't happen. Stalker's hunting for those Mutalisks. There's Roach Ling up there, though. The Roach Ling army seems to be well spread. Oh, Mutalisk. He's going to lose 1. Down to just 8 Mutalisks now. 7 even. He lost 2 more, actually. Here we go. Mutas are on the backside. They're going to run into an Archon. 7 Mutas can beat an Archon rather handily, but on the front, how does he go over there? Stasis Trap, Storms, Stalkers. It's a very mobile, very fancy army. Mutas take out the Archon on the rally. They should go across the map to keep on harassing those probes. There is a second cannon up in that base. Total of 8 cannons across the defensive setup. High Templar on the front. Zerglings actually get saved by Storm from the Stasis Trap, funnily enough. There's still another full energy High Templar in the back. SERRAL has to disengage. He's up against the wall. He's in a very hard position right now. And he's a bit too clumped with those Psy Storms staring him down. Muta's going to try to come back, catch the Prism. There is no Prism, remember. There is not even Warp-ins on the front. The Mutas are trying to come in from behind. Perhaps they'll get an Oracle. Indeed, they will. The Roach Hydra on the front. The High Templar will fall. Muta's very good for sniping. High Templars, Oracles, those fancy units. The Roach Ravager Ling Hydra going to come in from behind. The Oracle gets picked off. Can he get another Oracle? SERRAL pulls back wisely. He's only got 4 Mutalisks left. Stasis Trap freezing some more Zerglings in the center. SERRAL has to back off. +1 melee coming in behind it. Great choice for him, realizing Zerglings are going to be getting mixed in more and more as you're at this Hive Tech Lurker stage of the game. Lurkers start to morph. MAXPAX is on 4 bases, of course, but he's lost a bunch of probes, doesn't have the gas mining on the 4th. He's only on 70 workers. He's going to go +3 weapons, and he does not have an air transition in sight. It's just High Templar, Stalker, Zealot, and Immortal's only building 1 at a time. Fleet Beacon just now starts. SERRAL's got a window. He's ahead in supply. He's got to find a way to lean on MAXPAX, though. Do not let MAXPAX send his Zealots to counterattack. Do not let MAXPAX get up an Immortal count. Muta's cleaning up the Zealots on the south. Great preparation by SERRAL, realizing I can cover the north with my army. So he does let that Prism sneak by, but the Mutas push back the Zealots in the south, and this is SERRAL just preparing his Lurker count. He's up to 11. Oh, got to be careful of those Psy Storms. Good pullback. Hydra Lurker on the low ground. The Overseer's coming there for that high ground vision. Beautiful play here to harass from the low ground. This 4th base is such a disastrous base, man. It always finds itself under siege from that low ground angle. Zealots coming in. Mutas are going to go after it. I love that he kept the Mutalisks alive specifically for this purpose. The Lurkers and Hydras and Lings getting cleaned up, but a few Stalkers in the middle are going to go down. They're going to take out a Lurker or 2 first, though. Dude, MAXPAX gets 2 Lurkers in insane micro. Mutas clean up the Prism. They are going to clean up that main base, but the Lurkers on the top right went down. 2 Lurkers went down in the middle as well. That's already 4 Lurkers down. Lings are inside the base, though. Ling, Hydra, Lurker trying to push forward. It's a little ambitious, though. It feels like this army's kind of small, and there's Zealots on that side as well. SERRAL! Oh no, he accidentally A-moved his units. He thought they were in aggro range of the Zealots, but they weren't. SERRAL's about to have to send some units back. He does fix that up, no doubt a little frustrated by his units' unwillingness to do what he intended. He said, interpret your orders, idiots. Don't run away from a base when I A-move you. Lurkers, oh no! Big storm flank. MAXPAX takes that army to D-Town. And SERRAL, he tries to unburrow and run away, but even if he burrows again right now, I think all his Lurkers will probably go down. 2 of them do burrow a bit further back. SERRAL's got 8 Lurkers on the map. More Lings, Lurkers, Hydras and Mutas coming forward. The Mutas joined in with the army. If you can get rid of that Oracle, that'd be really big. It's one of the biggest parts of the detection. It survives on 1 hit point for MAXPAX. Overseers, no Overseers on the front. Without an Overseer, you can't kill the detection. The Observers. He's going to keep pushing this side. I think rotating is the right call. He's going to start morphing lurkers on the ramp. Another lurker from that low ground going to start killing probes. More lurker ravagers setting up on the base. The storms are good against the lings, but the lurkers are in range, and that base has to get abandoned. Zealots cleaning up the lurker behind the mineral line, but the fourth base sacrificed here for MAXPAX as he goes into Mothership Tempest Immortal. Giving up the base is wise. The longer this goes, the better your army gets as MAXPAX, but right now your natural wall's being breached, and that's a problem. If there was a sentry, maybe it could have held him off. Cannon in the mineral line, Zealots coming over as well. The Lurker's doing great damage. You can see the way SERRAL's rotating his army between two impossible fronts. Very hard for MAXPAX to defend both of them, and he's attacking through a choke point. Anytime you have to attack through this choke point, it's a disaster. Those Lurkers on the low ground are savaging him. Oh, MAXPAX. His army gets taken down, and SERRAL there with a very nice, solid macro play. A couple of sneaky mutas into the Lurker play, and just methodically pushes forward while cleaning up any counter-harass attempts with the Mutalisks. All right, guys. Game 3 for these two players. And this is turning out to be quite a good series, isn't it? MAXPAX in the top right side of the map, SERRAL in the bottom left. MAXPAX, I think, went a bit too hard on the aggression with that Stalker Storm push. He overexposed his units, and I think poking forward, denying creep, forcing your opponent on the defensive, clearing creep is good, but SERRAL showed he had the ability to defend very well and cleaned up a bit too much on the front. That's going to be that 15 Overlord again. SERRAL's not really sending drones down very early, which I'm surprised by. He's going to see a probe coming. I think he can still get the hatchery down. Yeah, just barely. Yeah, he can get it. He can get it. He can get it. MAXPAX goes across a bit too late there, man. SERRAL not building the 16th drone, goes for the 15 hatchery after the 15 Overlord. If he didn't see the probe, he would have built one more drone, but great build order for him. And MAXPAX sends a probe across. He's going to try and get some value with the worker harass, of course. People asking, what series is this? Exclamation mark bracket, guys. Got a lot of people asking the same questions every time I'm casting lately. Sorry if I sound annoyed. It's just people ask the same questions over and over and over again. UB means upper bracket. This is the upper bracket match. It's all good. Right now, I'm thinking about ley lines as a map. And I think MAXPAX will go third here, fourth base here. I think he's going to play a pretty standard style. I think we're going to go back to Blink Stalker Oracle. Probably into Psystorm again. I do wonder if we see a Double Forge. I don't think Double Forge is a particularly good style, especially since we know SERRAL on this map is likely to do another German taxi, another Queen Roach push, right? It's a smaller map. It's not that hard to get across. This base is relatively open. I mean, this area is a bit choked up because of that. So often you have to attack from this left side. But I think you can kind of just assault the natural wall if you have to as well. Sorry, just getting some cords tangled up here on my desk. I love this track. Ding, ding. It's really good. Wings of Liberty has some very good music. Oh, whoops, I accidentally just opened my own stream there on my phone. I was trying to just glance at something in chat. All right, we had an interesting question during this early game. Guys, so do I understand StarCraft 2 like mostly micro, macro, APM decision making and drones and marines and roaches and zergs? But can anybody explain to me how Clem won World Cup 5-0? He's the best player in the world and he played really good, and SERRAL was in the military, so he wasn't able to train properly at the time. Since then, even once SERRAL was back to practice at Home Story Cup, Clem also beat him. It was a bit closer than at the World Championship, but SERRAL still looked a little sloppy. He hadn't practiced a lot on the new patch going into Home Story Cup. It was kind of a first litmus test right after the patch came out. Clem has been practicing harder than any other player, and he is simply the best player in the world right now. SERRAL is still the greatest of all time, but right now, Clem is a freak, and that is how he beat him. SERRAL made a few small mistakes, and the moment you let Clem get even a slight advantage, he runs away with games. He only really had to win late game once. He did dominate. It was on post-youth, a map which is pretty good for Terran late game. But most of all, he was just overwhelming and barreling through SERRAL in the mid game. Once Clem gets momentum, he is just a fierce, ridiculously overpowered player because his mechanics are so good. Pig, why is the build called the German Taxi when he lifts up the queens and brings them across the map? I think it's a Home Story Cup reference. No, I think it's just Lambo came up with the build. He's German, and the queens are basically a bunch of drunk nerds at the end of a night of Home Story Cup who want to go get a kebab. The only way to get to the Zerg base, or the Protoss base in this case, to get that fancy kebab is to call a German Taxi, I guess. Get the Dropper Lord going. Fits 4 queens in it. Normally the same number of people. It fits into a regular sized taxi as well. So, I don't know. I guess it fits. The the Warsaw subway is because a laser was the one who preferred to nidus his queens across the map to kill these oracle openings. And he lives in Warsaw in Poland, so just a couple of silly nicknames. It's good stuff. That's fake taxi. That's not German taxi, Twitch chat. Guys, get your references correct. 4 more gateways are being built right now. Oracle's going to pull back. So double Oracle into +1. I would imagine Blink as well. MAXPAX has enough minerals. There we go. Blink starts up. SERRAL sees the 3rd and 4th gas, the Forge in the Twilight. This looks all completely standard. Did he see the gases? He didn't see the gases on the natural, so it could still be charge in his mind. He doesn't know exactly what's happening, but he's got no Roach Warren for safety, so he's happy to play a bit greedy here. He realizes this does not look like a glaive setup. There's no, like, you know, glaive adepts shoving across the map or anything like that, and it's going to be a little supply blocked on 82 with that Overlord going down, but he's got 2 about to pop, and you can see as these Overlords start to pop out in the main and the natural, we should be seeing a whole lot more drones, and actually Zerglings first of all. He's worried about pressure, so he's already on 66 drones. He says, yeah, let's make a main nest, make a 4th and a 5th hatchery. Now you might wonder, isn't that a bit greedy? Well, remember, a hatchery is not that greedy. It's defending it that can be hard. It's putting drones on it that's the real investment. He can just use these as macro hatcheries, and if he ends up getting pushed by Oracle, Stasis, Trap, Blink, and he can't find it, he just cancels the hatchery or lets it die, moves his drones to the other base. This gives him options. I think this is really wise, especially if you want to play more of a counterattack style as SERRAL. He's trying to go straight to Hydraling Bane, and of course Hydras won't be ready in time. But +1 melee is going to be finished before these Stalkers get over here. SERRAL going to run into an Adept, a Shield Battery. At the 3rd, another Pylon comes in to create an extra choke point. The more you can choke up this mineral line, the safer it's going to be against these Zerglings. But Baneling's already morphing for the counterattack. So many Zerglings getting ready. SERRAL, can he defend with Queens and Zerglings? It's going to be tough. MAXPAX has already got 10 Stalkers out, most of them on the front lines. 2 Stalkers warping at the 3rd. They are in the open. MAXPAX does not see those Banelings. They're about to enter his vision. Here we go. Things are about to get intense. Banelings and Zerglings going for it. The Banelings, one of them does get taken down by the Stalkers, but the Lings get a great surround. Blink is not quite ready. Banelings are not going to have anything to blow up on there. Meanwhile, Queens and Zerglings do not catch the Stalkers on the front. They blink away, but the Stalker's pulling back into the choke points. Very nice. The Shield Battery goes down. Lings get a decent trade there, pick off a bunch of Stalkers. And most importantly, he doesn't throw his army away. SERRAL here being very technical, and he squeezes 8 more workers in. That's crazy. Groove Spine starts up. He's being incredibly greedy, but you know what? It's correct. He's got his Zerglings out, and remember, you got to keep these Lings alive. People get a bit too wasteful with those Zerglings, but if they've been defensive enough, just keep them up and use them to defend by threatening counters. Go to Hydras. Go to the infestation here. Go towards the Lurkers. This is so huge. I also love, I've been talking about this a lot. A lot of people have been playing Hydraling Bane. What have I been saying for the last 2 weeks, guys? Stop making +2 melee. These Zerglings are an early defense to the first Stalker wave. By the time it's 8 minutes on, Storm, Archon, Zealots are in the mix. Lings are no longer a great unit. They'll help in terms of counterattacks, but those counterattacks are not a sure thing. So it is actually something where you've really got to realize it's better to go range, because it's the Hydras and then the Lurkers that will end up winning you the big fights. So I love that SERRAL's made this adjustment when so many players are still stuck in the old mindset of, I'm playing Hydraling Bane. I need +2 melee because then my Banelings one-shot probes. That hasn't been the case in over a year. Probes do not get two-shot by, or one-shot, sorry, by those Banelings until you get +3 melee. Zerglings going for this around there. High Templar Storms hold back the Banelings. Very nicely done. Zealot, Stalker, High Templar are hanging out. We've got 6 gateways there, 4 more building. Pig, when will Clem join, please? When will Clem join, please? I read he was invited. This is the Masters Coliseum 8. Clem has been eliminated from the tournament, guys. Clem's a very good player, but he played Protoss in this tournament, and he lost to Spirit in the group stage, and unfortunately, despite that being the only series he lost, it's a bit of a brutal format, so he didn't go through. We've got a lot of Clem games we've been casting recently. But this one tournament he did fall out of. Keep your eyes on the Luli 2024 finals. Clem's still in that tournament. He's looking really good over there, and the playoffs for that will be happening, I believe, this week. So it's going to be a lot of matches of Clem in the near future. Circling Baneling in the top left. Zealots are ready for it. MAXPAX trying to set up some of that famous MAXPAX multi-prong. SERRAL's pretty ready. I like the way he set this up. Look at this. MAXPAX is not realizing this is SERRAL, man. He's ready. Prism's going to slide down the left side. There's already spine crawlers behind there. Baneling's rolling into this base, but doesn't find anything. Just damages a few buildings. Stasis traps on the right, still being a nuisance. But with Lurkers there, with range almost done, that's huge. And SERRAL's going Spire. Oh, man. SERRAL is prepared to play late game, guys. He's going to go Lurker, Corruptor, Viper. He's not just going to run into Mothership trying to do a desperate Lurker roll in and die. He realizes, let MAXPAX overcommit. Too many Zergs in this scenario try to counterattack with the Lurkers, and they end up bleeding all their Lurkers out. The Stalker Storm is too mobile. The Prism's hitting them in the back door. The Zealots finding the way in. But SERRAL, he's playing a much more calm style, and unfortunately, those Banelings get stasis trapped. Now, it's a bit awkward for MAXPAX, because you've got to remember to run these probes away 20 seconds from now when that stasis trap does wear off. We'll see. Here we go. Gonna go for the pylon. Nicely done. Did SERRAL manually detonate the first wave of Banelings? I think so, guys. I don't know if that was on purpose or not. It definitely didn't seem very effective. Oh, lots of Lings go down to the storm in the north. MAXPAX starting to get some value. He's already had 2,000 resources in the units lost. He's going triple Stargate Tempest. And Mama just seconds from popping out right now. Great Aspire. SERRAL's already preparing that ultimate ground-pounding army. If you overcommit to Corruptors, you may need to turn them into Broodlords. Oh, High Templar in the open. Might be worth surrounding that, but there's still another Storm available. Lingbane, seeing what they can find. Another Storm's ready. Oh, SERRAL takes a bad fight there. A lot of Lings go down. If he could get rid of this worker line, it'd be nice, but it looks like he's not able to. That pylon very well positioned. Mama's here. Baneling's going to be able to kill a few workers, but not so many. Only 5 workers going down. SERRAL, Lings on the right side. He's making it messy. Oh, Lurkers and Stalkers just traded in the middle. Looks like 8 Stalkers for 5 Lurkers so far this game. That's actually really, really good for MAXPAX. Sorry, I think there's a bunch of dust in my apartment right now. I keep having to mute to sneeze. If you hear me oddly go silent, that's me toggling my mute button so I don't blow anyone's eardrums out. Okay, the problem here for SERRAL is he's on a bit of a timer. He's got to keep this base count low. Oh, not bad. Still, once again, only 5 or 6 probes, a few buildings. He is slowly killing the Nexus as well, which is kind of like a bonus value he's getting. Ling's going to get ready to hit the north. Corruptor count is growing. One of them is going to chase down the Prism in the top left. MAXPAX struggling to get a 5th up right now, guys. Shades of MAXPAX from 2 years ago. 1 to 2 years ago, MAXPAX could never secure a 5th base in late game versus SERRAL. It was his big weakness in this matchup. Problem is, I think he's more confident in the late game, and 4 base is enough right now. SERRAL doesn't have a huge bank advantage, especially when it comes to the gas count. SERRAL's struggling. Does have these 2 gases mining. He's got these 2 now mining as well. Actually, they've been mining for a while. He can get this purple gas up in the near future, but he needs to get rid of that mineral patch before he can take it. Overseer does get cleaned up by the Archons. 5 Dropper Lords. He's going to try and drop the main base. It's a good way of opening up a new front. He's going to go for the Neural. Now, what I find interesting here is there's no Vipers. I really feel like Vipers are the way you pick away at Protoss in the late game. Now, of course, there's the argument that High Templar will feedback them, but that is if they see them coming. And yes, MAXPAX is doing a good job with his vision here, but there's often an angle you can surprise him from. Oh, Lingbane. Lingbane trying to come in. The Lurkers as well. The Corruptors. I don't know if this is a good fight for SERRAL. Wait, he got rid of the Archon. There's no Archon. All the Storms are gone, which means the Corruptors can jump on top. The Lurkers... Oh, there is still an Archon. Sorry. There is an Archon hiding under the Tempest. Observers go down. Tempests go down. Mothership go down. SERRAL's happy to take a bit of an awkward trade, but I don't know, man. Was that good enough? He got rid of all the detection, so the Lurkers are actually doing pretty nice damage there. He's going to run away to the left side. Meanwhile, Zealot's attack gets in. 10 drones go down there. Big attack in the top left gets a hatchery. MAXPAX... 10 drones, a hatchery. If he gets another hatchery, it's a disaster. It's a disaster, mate. SERRAL bringing his Spore Crawlers and his Lurkers forwards. He's going to need to shuffle those lurkers up, but at the same time, MAXPAX with a multi-prong army attacking in the north and the south at the same time. Remember, he can always recall the southern army to the top right now. Finds himself a Corruptor spawning up the top, runs through, the army goes down. Another hatchery goes down. SERRAL trying to surround this force, but it's so hard to take him out. He's going to jump on top. Recall tries to go down. It looks like only 2 Tempests get recalled out of there, and they did get recalled to home. It wasn't the Mothership recall, it was the Nexus recall, which means this army is in a dangerous position. MAXPAX should fall back. But look at that, Zealots on the front, wearing SERRAL down, and we're seeing the max supply problem that plagues Zerg in the late game. Unless you go down to only 50 workers, you don't really have enough army to deal with all these different Protoss units, because you need a bit more supply to deal with everything. And right now, you don't have that supply, because you're on 80 workers. If you don't have 80 workers, you don't have enough money. But if you have so many workers, you don't have enough army supply. And I've always wondered what StarCraft 2 would look like if the supply was 250 or 300. Would that make Zerg just grossly imbalanced? Way too good? Would it encourage people to play lower tier armies and tech up even slower than they do? I don't know. Maybe I should run a tournament. Run a show match one day. Ooh, Ling drop sneaks around the top. Those Lings gonna lure this army out of position. Does he get spotted? Let's go to MAXPAX vision, guys. We're on MAXPAX vision. This is his live camera view in real time. Oh, God. Yeah, he doesn't see the drop. He doesn't get vision. Lings go around the right side. They find the Adepts. Nice move there. There are still some cannons and batteries. That Nexus survived. Never got focused down earlier. Lings are in the base. Meanwhile, Lurkers trying to defend. Overseers aren't quite in position. Mothership with Cloak coming forward. The Ling drop in the main is going to find the Stargates. That's huge. These guys sieging down the drones there. The Lings get cleaned up due to the cannon battery. The Lings in the main could find really big damage. There's no Dark Shrine. So no Dark Shrine, no Dark Templar able to be warped in. Multiple Stargates and a Fleet Beacon will go down. But on the other side, how do you deal with this army? He's only got 2 Lurkers and a few Spores, does SERRAL. He's struggling right now with this insane army that MAXPAX has built. A few Lings hiding up there as well. There is Burrow. I'd love to see him hide burrowed Zerglings around the main, but you can tell SERRAL's kind of overwhelmed a little bit by just the amount of things happening at once. MAXPAX doing a very good job of keeping the pressure up. 2 more Stargates quickly being rebuilt. The banks are pretty similar, but SERRAL's not max. MAXPAX getting closer to max than he is, and that's always a problem as a Zerg player. SERRAL played such a good early kind of mid-game stage, but it just feels like he wasn't able to find a window, and if you don't find a window to smash the Protoss in the late game... I don't want to look at it, guys, but I think I have to look at the units lost tab. Oh, God. 7,000 resources in favor of Protoss. And now with so many hatcheries getting sniped down as well... that could be the death sentence. Hatchery goes down on the purple gas base in the bottom middle. The one just slightly up and to the left of it also gets focused down. Lots of drones getting picked off. I don't know if he does another Ling drop. He's going to try and roll Banelings, but the cannon stasis Zealot battery spreads are so good at dealing with these Baneling run bys. And the big way SERRAL used to win the late game scenarios is he'd run in with these big packs of Ling Bane and deny your expansions over and over. But MAXPAX is just a bit more comfortable spreading his army out. He doesn't seem to have the fear of his main army getting jumped on. So he's able to split his army up just into these little chunks, these little pieces, and control the map and make it very claustrophobic for the Zerg. Big army goes in on the top. He's going to pull back there. Banelings are going to roll forward, but the cannons will... Oh, nice depower. Depowers some of the cannons, but not enough. I don't think that's enough. Army in the south does get pushed back by Lurker Spore. Army in the north, Neural's ready. Does Neural a few of these Tempests, which is pretty nice there. He's got Ling, Lurker, Corruptor there. SERRAL with a few slick moves. Takes out a Tempest, and then just pulls back those Tempests to get killed. Nice Storms on the Lings. Infestor's pulling back. Does Neural an Archon. Storm, not going to be quite able to kill that, and the Archon takes out a bunch of those High Templar, but there is a maximum range on Neural, and you can see that breaks as the Archon walks a bit too far away. Only so far, and Neural's tentacle can extend. Units lost tab, 8,000. If you keep it at 8,000 between the two, that's good for SERRAL, right? From now on, it means that the trades are even over the last minute. But, I mean, it's not really good because actually MAXPAX still has more money, so you actually need to have positive trades. That's crazy. Trading positively versus Protoss in the late game. We've seen SERRAL do it in the past, but MAXPAX looking very confident, not making the normal mistakes. Nice Fungal. 2 High Templar go down. Great Fungal to intercept those High Templar. They were hunting for feedbacks. Rich Gas, half mined out on this base. MAXPAX still on 5 bases. I think he should take this other one in the middle, probably. It's the most central base, easiest for him to defend. Broodlord's morphing. They're going to help picket these ground units a little. SERRAL needs the magic engagement. No Vipers being used by him. I do wonder, man, like, in these scenarios, because if you come in and you just abduct a few units, That might be a way to just make it harder for MAXPAX to move around the map. Like, he has to keep his High Templar in front. He has to have better vision. It's weird we're not seeing Vipers in this meta, and I think people are just like, well, you can't abduct the mothership, but does that really matter? I mean, there's so many other important units you could abduct. These bases are so easily siegeable. Estrella showed us earlier in the group stage that this map is disgusting. For defending these middle bases against the Tempest army in late game, it's very hard. The late game on this map feels quite Protoss favored. I used to think this was like the most even fair map in the map pool, but when you get to late game, these middle bases just feel much better for Protoss than they do for Zerg. Can you neural a mothership? Chat says yes. Is that true? I don't know if I've ever seen that. Well, I mean, I'm sure I've seen it, just not in such a long time. If you neural mothership, you basically immediately time warp their army with it, and then you just pull her into your force, activate cloak, and then kill her. Another hatchery gets denied up north. +2 air weapons, plasma shields is on the way. Never got +3 on the ground. MAXPAX. SERRAL's got 3-2. He doesn't have any carapace upgrades. He's got +1 only now on the way. It's been too much action to get all the upgrades, to get all the little bonus things, right? No spores there ready just yet. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Observer comes in from behind. The Lurkers take big damage. Oh, gosh. Scary pushing. MAXPAX with his meaty, chunky Archon Immortal just does not care about a few Lurkers. Great fungal. Great fungals. Oh, a bunch of High Templar and Archons go down. Good moves for SERRAL. Lings deny the 6th base attempt on the right, but there's already a 6th base almost finished with lots of cannons established in the top center. That is a 11 o'clock, I guess, base. Ling split up, force a few High Templar to morph into Archons. Good save there for Mr. MAXPAX. And it might be advisable for MAXPAX to always just keep a little bit of supply free so he can quickly warp in. Oh, another snipe on a hatchery, man. It seems silly that you stick a worm in a single person's brain and the entire crew follows their orders without objection. Well, the lore makes perfect sense. You guys have all seen the Carbot cartoon of like the neural on the battlecruiser. This like little slug on the ground literally shoots his tentacle into orbit, gets in, like it weaves through like the air vent, pops out, sticks into the captain's head, and then he just starts telling people what to do, and they're like, this is totally normal. Like, this makes sense. The Immortal Archon's getting taken down. Dude, good fungal catches. Dude, if SERRAL wins this late game, I will be just so impressed. Sees the recall, just backs away, because he has to be so much more efficient. And you know what? 6,000 resource loss difference. He's closed the gap by 2,000 resources. Now, obviously, he's not able to mine from these middle bases, so it's still a disastrous situation for SERRAL. But it's incredible that he's being so methodical, right? He's got 13 Lurkers, 16 Corruptors, 7 Broodlords, 5 Infestors, 1 Viper up against a mostly ground army for Protoss. Is it really mostly ground army? 10 Tempests now. That is a lot, man. 8 Tempests up here. They can kill a base so quickly. Yeah, they can one-shot it. Look at that. Oh my gosh. 480 damage in one volley from those. Oh, and of course, get out of jail free card. Get wrecked, stupid Zerg player. Does recall home there. 1 Tempest is all he loses, despite SERRAL catching him with fungal neural. Nice engage on the south. MAXPAX going to kill a base. Broodlords are going to try and deny this northern base since he knows there's no recall available right now. It's on cooldown. Mothership recall, of course, is what got used to group up in the south. I don't think MAXPAX minds losing a base too badly. Denying these bases, keeping SERRAL down in the dirt is his goal. He says, as long as I feel like you're a peasant Zerg, this is all good. Gets an Overseer. Microbial Shroud comes down, does reduce the Tempest damage by half against ground units. But Corruptor goes down as well, and SERRAL, you can't stand and fight. Another Corruptor goes down. Queen goes down. SERRAL doesn't feel like he has any answers. And guys, prepare yourself. There's going to be a very anticlimactic GG. I can sense it because SERRAL, if he loses this base, he's only got 1 base mining. He's on 36 drones. He's not maxed out. He doesn't really have a way of forcing good fights. He's just got to kind of hang out and wait for MAXPAX to make mistakes. The amount of agency SERRAL has in this game is incredibly low in this situation. He just doesn't have a lot he can do. And sitting there and waiting for your opponent's mistakes while you have next to no income, SERRAL can feel, I'm behind on income. My army's worse than his technically, unless I just land really amazing Infestor spells. He's got recall. He's got, you know, cloak. He's going to be more efficient long term usually. Look, it's back to 9,000 resources lost. MAXPAX shifting that back 3,000 resources in his favor. Great feedback's landing for him. So SERRAL will rage quit these sorts of games. He will, at a certain point, with a lot of his army still intact, just go, look, you're not dumb enough to lose this game. I'm getting too frustrated. Let's just leave. It's not something I advise players to have that mindset. But if you know yourself, you're just going to get more tilted the longer you play. Sometimes it's an okay, the tactical leave a game that isn't technically over can be worth it. Nexus gets killed up top. Nice move for the lurkers. This base is just never going to mine, man. If you want to take this, build the hatchery over here and like long distance mine. Because these Tempests are just going to have a party. You can see MAXPAX doesn't want to get caught by Neural, so he's being very cautious. Waiting for the oracles to come forward to revelate. 4 Immortals, 6 Archon, 7 High Templar, and 9 Tempests in a tree. Yeah, definitely he's singing the 12 days of Protoss Christmas is MAXPAX right now. SERRAL, on the other hand, is like, wow, I've got 9 Infestors in a dream. I hope you're an idiot who just lets me land Neural on you. You know, like, I guarantee you he's tilted. SERRAL never says this stuff out loud, but like all players, when they're losing a game like this in late game and they feel helpless, you know there's that voice in the back of their head that's just angry. Because your opponent is just not letting you play the game you'd like to play. MAXPAX so calmly and methodically picking away at him. Gets a Brood, gets an Overseer. There are Vipers out now, which is cool. Like, or Viper, I should say. Singular. Another hatchery's going to go down. Oh, nice catch. Well, he's going to Neural. But, of course, he just recalls whenever he gets caught. This is the most frustrating thing ever. As someone who's always had strong views back in the day as a Zerg, one of the few views, I used to think mules were broken. I used to think Colossus were unfair, sentries were unfair. You know, I used to have a lot of the standard complaints that just players have in a real-time strategy. Over the years, I've shed almost all of these beliefs as I've become, you know, more knowledgeable about the game. I've learned to play all the factions. The one thing I still dislike as a mechanic in StarCraft 2 is recall. I think recall never should have been in StarCraft 2 like this, especially when you've got multiple recalls to just, like, get out of jail free. It's interesting because, like, I guess you don't really see this in StarCraft 1, right? Where an Arbiter will recall units out of trouble. Do you? I'm sure it's happened. But it feels like it's always an aggressive move, whereas recall in StarCraft 2 feels like it's because it's baked into your Nexus from the start of the game. You get it for free. You get a bonus one on Mothership in late game. It always felt like we're going to give you Town Portal Scroll. And I remember when Warcraft 3 came out, Town Portal Scroll was a crazy revolutionary concept. Wait, we get a get out of jail free card? Our hero becomes invulnerable and teleports our whole army home? That's crazy. But everyone got it, so it was kind of like, okay, I guess that's just the rule of this game, but whenever you have asymmetric balance, there's always balance complaints, of course, in every real-time strategy. That's just how it goes. But for whatever reason, that one just felt the most unfair, that one team gets that and the other doesn't. I was always like, really? And the thing is, I'd rather Protoss not need it. But that's the thing, is Protoss kind of needs it. Now, I guess they didn't have it at the start of Wings of Liberty. It was a Heart of the Swarm edition recall, right? But I'll always remember David Kim explaining to us that plan he had for it and just kind of going, wait, so they get Warcraft mechanics and no one else does? I was like, what is this? They're like, yeah, we're going to have this Mothership core, turns a Nexus into a magic cannon. We're going to have recall so you can teleport out of trouble. And I was like, you know when you work really hard to like surround someone's army or catch them with fungal? I don't like them being able to click a button to get out of there. Now, over the years, they did make it so it takes a bit longer to cast. So it used to be like more instant and stuff to make it a bit less frustrating. But yeah, it's kind of just one of those things where Protoss... Do you guys agree? Protoss has always been designed... Like, I think it's the real-time strategy faction that is the most game-designed faction. Where, like, you know, like where someone goes to game design school and they're like, we're going to put a lot of mechanics on this race. Like, you know... Back in the day, I can't imagine people in 1980, 1990 making video games were talking about complex game mechanics and stuff, whereas I feel like StarCraft 2 has always been about fancy, fun, different game mechanics. And because of that, it creates such interesting interactions, but it also creates such frustration when your opponent does them to you, right? It's this weird thing where, like, even when Protoss was the weakest one in all the tournaments, they still had people balance whining the most amount and going, no, it's so unfair. And you're like, wait, they're losing all the tournaments. And yet everyone on the ladder is going, Protoss is stupid, Protoss is OP. And you're like, oh. So this, you kind of look at that and you go, oh, maybe this isn't a balance issue. But it's like a feeling issue where like it feels unfair to play against. And that's, I mean, StarCraft and RTS is riddled with those mechanics, but maybe Protoss just somehow has more of those mechanics. Anyway, sorry, I should actually cast the game. MAXPAX is still just wearing him down little by little. The Tempest Micro is good. I like that he's giving up ground. Don't stand and fight off for the Nexus. Just pick off units. If you kill 2 Infestors, 3 Broodlords, 2 Corruptors, it's worth losing a Nexus here. And he's picking off so many. Meanwhile, he denies the base in the bottom. Can he break the Lurkers? He can. MAXPAX looking really good here. This is such an epic game. I just took a few minutes to talk about balance and game design. I was like, man, SERRAL is trading pretty well considering he's 10,000 behind. But the inability to hang on to these middle bases for any reasonable amount of time, like he finally mined out the gas on one, but not the other. But wait, Neural comes in. Neural Fungal, the Time Warp though, the Time Warp's so good for disengaging. And it looks like he's gonna get 1, 2, 3, quite a few Tempests will go down, but he's got to get those Corruptors away from the Storms and the Archons. Good pullbacks. Corruptors take out that Tempest as well. Nice engages for SERRAL, guys. Dude, if SERRAL can beat MAXPAX in late game, this is meant to be impossible right now, according to a lot of the top players. Not really possible to take down Protoss in endgame. But SERRAL has shown over many years his ability to use Corruptor, Viper, Infestor, Lurker, Broodlord is second to none. Now, he's only got a single Viper. It keeps getting feedbacked. But if he can start abducting a few more units with that, it will start to get some value over time. Now, MAXPAX barely keeps that Nexus alive. How many Broodlords has he killed this game? 4 Broodlords. And 25 Corruptors. He's lost 13 Tempests, 14 High Templar, 1 Mothership, 6 Oracles, 9 Archons. I mean, back to 10,000 resources and the units lost. It's reasonably close, but without those extra bases mining, I mean, it's the split off squads keeping SERRAL away from the hatcheries that's hurting him. Corruptors come forward. Nice engagement here with the Corruptors. He can't chase much further. He gets a few units. Neural Parasite on a few of these carriers is actually very cute. The Broodlings coming in, engaging the Archons, which does protect the Corruptors. Another carrier goes down. One of the Neurals did break, and that carrier actually escaped from there. But dude, SERRAL breaking through. If he wasn't so far behind on bases, if this was a map where he hadn't been losing the middle bases continually, any other map pretty much, I think he's winning this game right here. But remember, MAXPAX has a bit more bank, especially mineral bank to draw on, and these Tempests are very good at kiting backwards. I think SERRAL's overcommitting. SERRAL's overcommitting because he's got so little income. He feels like, well, I killed your army. I need to finish it off. I need to go. Killing this base is good. It'll deny 500 gaps and a few hundred minerals. I think it's about 700 minerals there. Another fungal lands. Can he actually kill the Tempest, though? The Archons will come forward and make that very hard. One Tempest goes down. The Corruptor's pretty well spread. The Broodlord's trying to deal with the Archons. Another carrier goes down. The Tempest still continuing to kite right now. The Hydra's coming on the ground. He's going to kill the middle Nexus as well. I can't believe it. There's a Zealot counterattack, though. Still 2,000 minerals in the bag. SERRAL, the absolute god, unzips his fly and literally pees on his opponent's Nexus. I don't know, man. That, to me, looked like the Finnish national football team just won a bloody important match. And everyone's down in the town square drinking too many beers, and then doing a bit of the public urination while shouting Toril. What in the heck? Toril! I'm probably mispronouncing and butchering that. I know I am. I'm not good with me Finnish. But hats off to SERRAL. What in the hell? That man literally just got slowly shaved down for 30 minutes and then won the game. At the end of the game, he closed the gap by 6,000 resources. He kept on using that complicated army and using those Infestors to catch him so bloody well. This base down here never got to finish mining it, right? Look at that, guys. It's still 300 gas and about 1,000 minerals down there, maybe 1,500. This base, he barely touched. This base, he finally managed to mine out, but only after losing so many hatcheries. 10 hatcheries went down. This base had a little bit of mining. This one was basically gone. He was down to the dregs. But MAXPAX, losing that top base, didn't have that much either. He only had this base over here. He was trying to take the bottom right. He'd already mined out that one, and he lost this base as well. Absolutely insane comeback for SERRAL, showing why he is the greatest player of all time. Well, that was a turnaround I did not expect. I honestly thought MAXPAX was just being so methodical, calm, collected. But all it takes is a fungal here, a little Corruptor dive there, in, out, and SERRAL finds a way to make magic happen. And that's what he's so good at. And he's done that for years. And the patience is second to none. That's always been the special feature of SERRAL. Patient, methodical dismantling of opponents in the late game. He was the only guy back in the Void Ray meta. Remember, Trap went to late game with him. They played a 3-hour best of 7 finals in the first ever Pigsty Festival. First Pigfest finals. SERRAL just wore him down in that finals. And SERRAL, you'd ask him, like, hey, you're really strong in the late game. You're better than everyone. He's like, I hate it. I hate having to play that late in the game. Like, it's so slow and grindy and like you're just looking for the most marginal gain. You're going through the motions. A lot of times in StarCraft, you're committing to something and you can kind of force a certain situation. But in that late game scenario, it's like you and your opponent. I'm trying to think of a good explanation or an analogy from like another sport. Maybe if you're like in boxing and both fighters are kind of throwing feints at each other, that, you know, feigning punches, and neither one's actually committing to a single punch. You're both just kind of dancing around each other, and you're like, oh, look, I'm gonna punch. Am I? Will I? Won't I? Like, because the moment you commit to something a bit too hard, there's a massive defender's advantage when you have things like Fungal and Storm, when you have things like Oracle's Revelating and then Tempest kiting backwards and shooting at you from far away. So if you ever lean too far forward, unless your opponent's left a big opening, which guys of this quality almost never do, you end up basically exposing your chin and you will get punched in the head. And that's why you're both just kind of dancing around and to a certain extent trying to not make a mistake, not leave an opening, and waiting for your opponent to leave an opening. And I think SERRAL did an excellent job of that. MAXPAX did a great job of split army pushing, grinding those bases down. I think if there's one criticism I would have, potentially, and I'm not sure of it, I'd need to go look through the replay, but if I look through the replay for a good 20, 30 minutes, I might think that maybe MAXPAX could have gone after his main base and his tech. Whether that's squeezing a Prism in or just running some more Zealots in on the south side. I do think when you've got the Zerg on like full Broodlord, Spellcaster, Lurker, Viper, Infester, it's such an immobile army at that point. One of the best ways you can do it as a Protoss is if his whole army, let's say SERRAL's taken this base and his whole army's up here and just focused on defending those bases, you basically give up this one and you just take this base and you take this base right next to him and you actually try to kill his main. And you go to like a bit more of a mobile army, clear all of his like infrastructure, tech, production, and then you swap back into the more like Tempest, Storm, you know, mothership army that can win the late game head-to-head fight very slowly over time. So there might have been an opportunity for MAXPAX to swap back into a bit more supply allocated to basic units, use those to take advantage of SERRAL's lack of mobility in the late game, or force him to dump more of his very limited money into things like Zerglings, Hydras, units which he really didn't want to be building in the late game. And maybe MAXPAX could have got something to happen. It's also nice because you get to trade mostly minerals when you're making those moves rather than gas units. You run into their main base with 20 Zealots, it's 2,000 minerals. We saw at the end of that game, MAXPAX had an abundance of minerals, so you don't mind too much losing that. Now, he's gone for a Void Ray first opening, guys. He's going to come down the south. SERRAL's taking this third there, whereas MAXPAX is expanding up north. He's going to leave this up defending himself, which is good, because if SERRAL wants to attack, he has to open the minerals, go through there and do like a German taxi out in this open area to finish this series, which I wouldn't be surprised if he does. Now, SERRAL's already got a Spore Crawler up. I think this is his first moment finding out it's a Void Ray. Spore Trick, Spore Trick, Spore Trick. Didn't get the Spore Trick down. Good Void Ray snipe there from MAXPAX. Really nice. At low level, Void Ray Harass is kind of god tier in this matchup. You can see at high level, usually like SERRAL would be annoyed at himself for not starting the Spore Crawler to save that. Oracle comes in, gets 2 drones, but takes a lot of damage for it. SERRAL's fine with this. That Oracle would not be able to do that again. It's just going to kill a few creep tumors and get the heck out of there. But he's not going to be able to dive again. It's way too dangerous. Stargate's idling as well. So SERRAL's like, single Void Ray, single Oracle, you know. He's like, okay, I basically don't need a Spore Crawler in this base. I don't need more Queens. I can just chill. He doesn't see the gases mining on the natural. We do. Twilight Forge, 3rd and 4th gas. 5th and 6th gateway about to go down normally. Where's the 6th one? Up in the main. Always in divisions of 2. People very rarely add them one at a time, because usually you divide your builds into either 4 gate, 6 gate, or 8 gate, because you're very organized and you have these set rules you follow as MAXPAX, right? MAXPAX is a very methodical player. There's rules, there's systems. Hero does not do that. Hero just builds them at random timings. You'll see Hero with 3 gates, 5 gates, 7 gates, 6 gates, 8 gates. It's different every single game, because he senses, I feel like I need another gateway. But MAXPAX, there's like a very organized and repetitive system in place. That means Hero is less predictable. It means it's harder to predict what he's going to do. On the other hand, it means he's way less consistent. Fourth base coming up. That's going to finish just after 6 minutes, about 6:20. Laird's finishing at a really good timing for SERRAL. If you're going to go mutas, now's the time. You've got 200 gas. I don't know why I'm thinking about Mutalisks. I guess I was casting that Rainer game where he tried Mutas in... Was it this map? It's one of the maps. It's looking like just Ravager Bane, though. Still no gases on this third. Infestation does go down nice and early. SERRAL preparing for late game again. SERRAL does not like trying to force the issue. And ever since that queen drop didn't work in game 1, I think he's like, no, let's not do that again. It's going to be a very different scenario, though. Blink in the follow-up for MAXPAX. The Void Ray still barely taking any damage, which is great. Units lost tab, as you can see, is in favor of MAXPAX. 69 workers for him against 71 for SERRAL. Goes back, fills up his Oracle with energy. And he's going Robo, Templar Archive. So 6 gates into Storm. There'll be an Observer, a Warp Prism for counter pressure, and then steady, slow Immortal production. I love the Evo Chambers to save these. The reason an Evo Chamber is it costs the same as a Spore, 75 minerals, but it has 750 hit points. A Spore Crawler only has 300. So the Spore trick we used to do, the Spore save to save the drone, it's a bit more vulnerable than it used to be because those Spores are 300 rather than 400 hit points from the last patch. Does mean it can get focused down by the Oracle even easier than it could before. And it could already get focused down in the previous patch in a couple of shots. Oh, nice stasis trap. These Stalkers will be able to defend that pretty easily, I think. Good pullback. If there wasn't a stasis, he could have committed. Got the kill. Or at least the cancel. Oh, SERRAL not pulling away. You've got to be careful, mate. Overseer's going to go down over there as well. Storm halfway done. Charge coming in. 3 more gateways to get a bit of a semi-wall on the top of the third. It's interesting that he's gone for this middle 4th base has MAXPAX. I guess the idea being it's more on his push path through the middle. SERRAL takes a 5th on the gold down the bottom. The gold that's very exposed directly at 6 o'clock. Double gas there as well. Ooh. Oh, Spore Crawler's going to go down. Nice catch. That's bad. MAXPAX needs to build a new one. I know you can't really spare 150 gas a lot of the time. I actually think building the Oracle again is necessary. Wait a second. What's going on? Oh, did he forget his Lurkaden? Ooh, SERRAL's got a Hive up, but he's only just started his Lurkaden, so he's going quick Adrenal Gland Zergling Hydra. I guess he's not really thinking about doing an aggressive timing, but I mean, you'd love to have Lurkers because Storm Stalker's going to ruin your Zerglings. Storm did actually kill his own Stalker as well, but plenty of Zerglings going down there. 3-1 in the trading, or close to that for MAXPAX. 650 to 1500. Spines behind the mineral lines. Why do they do this, guys? Because if the Zealots A move, they'll get stuck in these choke points. Only one Zealot can attack at a time. That's why you build the Spine Crawlers there. The Protoss has to manually tell the Zealots to go around behind the mineral line to actually get surface area and take those spines down. So it's a delaying tactic. Dude, no Lurkers being ready is a huge mistake. Dude, if SERRAL loses right now, just because he doesn't have Lurkers, like, he's in a good spot. He had a great early game. He shouldn't be dying here. Okay. He's going to try and spread out on the front. He's going to start morphing a few Lurkers. Needs to make a couple more than that. Seismic Spines is on the way. +2 range as well. +1 melee is already done. Zealots warping in. They're going to try and maybe run by into the main at the same time. Hydras with a good spready. Good defense by SERRAL, but it does feel like he's in a more compromised position than he should be. His Hive was up at a good timing, but he forgot his Lurkaden. Storm's going down in the good spready there. The Hydraling. Good spread of Hydraling Lurker. Great fight here for SERRAL. Does he clean up the Zealots at the same time? Yes, he does. Hydras go forward, get rid of the Void Ray, and SERRAL stomps that army. 2 High Templar get saved in the prison, but still, that is a fantastic trade. Back to close to even. Actually, even 300 resources in favor of SERRAL now. And SERRAL, the question is, can he get over there and kill him? And the answer is, yeah, just spend your money on Lurkers and go. There's no way this 4th base can be defended by MAXPAX, right? What's he got? He's got 1 Immortal. He'll have 2 Immortals, a few Storms, a pack of Stalkers out. If SERRAL goes now, SERRAL is making 6 Overlords, though. He does not want to hit the frontal attack. Right now, MAXPAX is wide open. But SERRAL does not believe in the frontal attack. He's going to go for a big drop in the main and then attack at the front at the same time. But he wants Frenzy, he wants +2 range, he wants Adaptive Talons. SERRAL is a very timing attack-oriented player. He wants to have a clear, obvious strength to do this. But oh god, the Prism's going to spot his Dropper Lords. The jig's up. That is huge. That is so big because now MAXPAX, he's got time to get Mothership out, Tempest, Immortals, and more importantly, the drop's just not going to work. You can't do the drop now. SERRAL needs to commit, push up this angle, take the high ground, and attack into the 3rd and the 4th at the same time. Potentially do some sort of drop in the main or the natural, but he needs to commit the majority of his army up north. He hasn't opened the minerals! SERRAL forgot to open the minerals, guys! You have to open these minerals so your army can pass from north to south. You can threaten the front and then pick up and drop the main. He's still committing to the drop, even though got spotted. 2 lurkers in a dropper lord get taken down. Big mistake for SERRAL. If he was going to drop anywhere, he should have done it over here, realizing that main was going to be covered. But MAXPAX getting back in this game right now, hanging on and buying time for himself. I think SERRAL should have been able to finish this off, but MAXPAX fighting back. The lurkers coming in. They're going to have to burrow right there. Great drop. Those stalkers are in trouble. The Immortal and the Warlock is in trouble there right now. Overseer and lurkers trying to hang on. The Overseer actually goes down. When the Observer comes over, those lurkers will be in trouble. So they're falling right now. And here we go. Tempests, Stalkers, Zealots, and High Templars slowly clearing up these lurkers. And they do get taken out. SERRAL has to fall back, tail between his legs. He's got 8 Corruptors on the way. He's making a great Aspire, but I think with how this early game went, his inability to kill MAXPAX has to frustrate him. The analogy we were giving earlier seems similar to 2 counterattacking soccer teams. Yeah, 100%. There can be this sort of thing where you're waiting for the other team to make a play sometimes. And that's what late game ZvP often ends like. You saw SERRAL versus Hero. Hero was beating him in late game in EWC on Site Delta. And Hero basically lost patience and just started like overcommitting and leaning way too hard into his attacks and punches. And SERRAL was able to like technically fall back and just pick him apart with spells and take advantage of that. And it was like, you kind of saw that SERRAL's like discipline and staying calm is what allowed him to win that series. Well, the Hero would get over eager and just try to go for the knockout. MAXPAX right now, I love that he's turtling up on 4 base. It really feels like he's being given a second lease on life in this game because now he's maxed out. Long distance mining not great there, but the Zealots will defend. Great choke point for behind the minerals. SERRAL grabs a probe. Second one as well. Adrenal Zerglings are good, but he's only got +1 melee. He's going to go Carapace and +2. You can get 3/3 Adrenal Zerglings, that'll be nice. He's going to try and go for another Lurker drop, but Cannons and Stalkers are in position. SERRAL making Broodlords right now as well. When I say Broodlords, what I really mean is Broodlord, guys. Because there can only be one Lord of El Dorado, the lost city of gold. Now, are we... He still hasn't opened these minerals. Isn't that crazy, guys? You've got to open these minerals. Otherwise, your army is, like, so awkward. Oh, he drops on top of the Stalkers and the Cannons. Crazy move, crazy move. But he gets rid of the Cannon, which means the Lurkers can't get finished off. Oh, that's huge. These Stalkers not doing well for MAXPAX. SERRAL dropping the main. He's not even attacking elsewhere at the same time. But it's an ambush. Corruptors come in. He's going to grab a Tempest. He does get rid of 1 Tempest, but big Storms and Tempest shots come down. The Corruptors, 2 of them die, and a lot more take a lot of damage. Lurkers in the main. Click the Nexus might be the play here. You're not getting out of here unless you pick up right now and leave. And there's a big counterattack. Oh, gosh. Huge counterattack coming in. SERRAL does not cancel the hatchery in time. His Lurkers are a bit far forward. He's going to have to burrow those Lurkers a bit more defensively. Corruptors come forward. They're eating big Storms, though. Massive Storms. Nexus goes down. The Corruptors need to get out of there. They're way too wounded. The Archon Immortal comes forward on the front. The Lurkers have burrowed. This army's super exposed. SERRAL has the better force, but it's not very mobile. It's Lurkers. It's Siege units. If he jumps on top and sieges on that, he kills that whole army in like 1 shot. But right now, he's very busy. He's occupied on other things. He's going to try and deal with the Observers. The Corruptors are going to get blasted, though. Oh, no. SERRAL miss-microing right now. Panicking a little bit. He had such a good start to this game, and it's all starting to slip away. I guarantee you he is frustrated as all heck. There is no way SERRAL is happy with how this game is progressing right now, not with how it started. He will be absolutely mad. When SERRAL has an advantage, he gets furious when he fails to capitalize on it, because he knows that the start of this game is a 1 in 20 occurrence. You do not get such a good start versus Protoss that often, and yet he's letting it slip away. That's a good counterattack. He did kill 23 probes in total. I mean, don't get me wrong, MAXPAX economy is still small. He's going to keep hitting the main, but he's got to stop hitting that main. He's got to stop hitting that main, man. The Stalkers are ready. I don't know if this is going to work. He's going to unload immediately. Oh, God, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God. He loses 1 full Overlord. He starts to unload. Oh, man. He loses another one with a lot of Zerglings still inside. I mean, they are Zerglings, so they are cheap. This is not a Hydra Lurker drop. I think it's okay to lose that sort of drop and be a bit sloppy with it. If it's Lurkers and Hydras, it's way more expensive. Nidus in the top goes down. Nidus gets shut down immediately. Still got an army in the middle, and these minerals did get opened up finally. SERRAL trying to take this gold base from the inside, as well as that one over there as well. The Corruptors is still going to be looking potentially to catch these air units. 17 Corruptors with +1 air weapons on the way. +2 air weapons is already on the way for Protoss. Protoss is a little ahead on the air upgrades. Spines with a few Lurkers up top should be able to defend that base, but of course he's going to rotate. MAXPAX army movement has been excellent in this series. Oh, picking off those drones. Mothership, Tempest, Templar moving around. Storm's landing. Lurkers up top going to break these cannons. One of them goes down, but they will break the rest of the cannons very nicely. Time Warp's already being used. That's the big no-go zone ability. The Storms are big, though. Storm Archon going to clear these Zerglings pretty well. If the Archons can survive to help against the Corruptors, that'll be big. Tempest, Archon trying to fight. There's only one Archon, and that's a lot of Corruptors. The Corruptors will take out Mama. The Lurkers need to burrow to deal with these Archons, though. There's actually two Archons that were under there the whole time. The Lurkers are kind of getting shredded right now. This is really bad for SERRAL, I think. Even though he kills the air army, he's losing so much to do it. And at the same time, a counterattack hits over there. Lurkers trying to jump on top and burrow, but when you're burrowing on top of an army, it gets sloppy and it gets scrappy very fast. Two spines behind the mineral line on the top right of our screen are doing very well. Up here, Lurker does deny mining on the 5th base of MAXPAX. MAXPAX trying to rebuild his Tempest. Lings are going to slowly surround this, but with two Archons and more Zealots coming in, +3 attack for those, the splash damage is brutal on those Zerglings, and SERRAL is finding himself having to reinvest in Hydras while way down on supply and completely out of mineral bank. A few Lings up top are going to do well. Zealots come in on this base, catching the Hydras as they pop. He tries to burrow the Hydra, but the Hydra can't quite shimmy his butt underground in time. Zealots doing massive damage to the drones, and in the north, MAXPAX has him pinned. Yes, MAXPAX only has 59 workers. He just lost his 5th base in the top left of the map. That did go down. He doesn't care. He's still mining 2,000 minerals, 1,000 gas a minute, and he knows that right now he has SERRAL in a massively compromised position. He is not going to go home to defend. He is going to continue forwards, saying this is a good spot to be in. Let's push the Zerg out of this game. I thought SERRAL was going to get a 3-1. I honestly thought SERRAL was going to get a 3-1, but now he finds himself looking down the barrel of a Protoss shotgun. It is not loaded with blanks. It is loaded with Zerg shot. Now, for those who don't know, Zerg shot, you know, it's a special casing. It's a special sort of shell. You get a bit of lasers, a bit of recoil, a bit of sprinkling of Psy Storms in there when that thing goes off. And of course, it has exceptional range compared to most different types of shot that you can use. The Tempest's able to just shoot from so bloody far away. Zealots taking out the base down the bottom. Lings denying MAXPAX from taking a 5th. MAXPAX says, I don't need a 5th, bro. I've got money. I'm maxed out. I do not care. My 3rd and 4th are defended by cannons. I guess he'll try to retake the north. Zealots are doing pretty well over here, even though it is 3-2 Adrenal Zerglings, and 3-2 Adrenal Zerglings actually shred Zealots, so never mind. SERRAL will continuing denying the top left. Lots of probes going down, but he's going to lose his gold. And these Tempests, man, it's a menace. Look at that. It goes very far forward. MAXPAX has got to be careful. He never got Tectonic Destabilizers, by the way, so his Tempests do not do bonus damage to buildings. But he's even going to blink a few Stalkers across and go hunt for some Infestors. Units popping out in the dangerous spot. Fungal Lurker ambush. Corruptors spread on top. SERRAL goes for the YOLO, but he doesn't have enough Corruptors to finish the air army. It's a handful of red hit point Corruptors. You can see the beautiful trap that SERRAL sprung, but it doesn't matter how well you spring that trap if the Protoss has twice as much stuff as you. SERRAL is dead in the water, and he's going to be frustrated. I do think if he just immediately counter-pushed this middle base, he could have knocked MAXPAX back to 3 base after defending his push, and it would have been a really good spot, but SERRAL was a little late on Lurkers this game. And it felt like because of that delayed Lurker Den, which I do think was a mistake, he just was not as confident, even after shutting down MAXPAX's first big push. And I think for MAXPAX, you're getting another lease on life. In Game 5, you have to not overcommit to your pushes. You have to realize the most important thing in the mid-game is keep SERRAL defensive, but don't let him kill your army. Don't get carried away with trying to overwhelm him with some Zealot multi-prong and an army on the front, because SERRAL's handling it too well. And I think a bigger priority should be clear creep and get a 5th. And if you have those two priorities, I think as MAXPAX, like you're sailing, smooth sailing, you know, you're in a good spot. Oh, feedbacks come down. Observers take out the Infestors, breaking the Neurals. SERRAL has to tap out. MAXPAX forces a Game 5. All right, guys. It's going to be decided on Ultra Love, spawning on the red side of the map, but playing blue. Damn, that's annoying. MAXPAX in the top right side. At least we get contrast. Next to, as you can see, the red kind of storms on the edge of the map. And in the bottom left side of the map, in the red, but spawning on the blue side of the map, it's SERRAL. You can see here, blue lightning, blue clouds, and the blue energy beam with the blue hybrid destroyer with its tentacles and side blades sticking out. On the other side, you can see it's a red hybrid destroyer with its tentacles sticking out the bottom and its little side blades sticking out from this little black hole. This map's very cool, but in PvZ, this map's very choked off. Like, there's a lot of little choke points. I think Stalkers can be really hard to deal with. when they're controlling you in these areas. That being said, Serral's openings have been so good at just shutting down the Stalker pressure. And it's kind of funny because I was looking at a lot of PvZs in the last week and I was like, man, I think Protoss vs. Zerg might just be broken in favor of Protoss. And then I watched SERRAL and I'm like, oh, he's having no problem dealing with Blinkstalker Oracle. It's just the late game he's having problems with, right? And that's so interesting because the games I've been watching, yes, Zerg's kind of on a timer because they do feel weak in late game, but they're like dying well before late game because they're already half the time dying to the Oracles and to the Blinkstalker pressure. That's not happening to SERRAL at all. I think it just reminds us, you know, the detail-oriented mindset, the never giving up his position, always playing a clean style. SERRAL looking great. Now, MAXPAX didn't scout. This is a greedy boy build, and it's a good way to play, dude. SERRAL's not going to 12 pool game 5, so why not be as greedy as you possibly can? This is also SERRAL. He doesn't represent Zerg. That's a good point as well, DCHG. I'm not saying it's not super Protoss favored, right? For sure. But I am saying I thought it would be so Protoss favored that even SERRAL would struggle with dealing with Blink Oracle and just like getting control of a fourth base and stuff. Because we've seen Dark, Raynor, Rogue all really struggle with that recently. Like really look like, oh my gosh, how the hell do I even get a fourth base established and go past 60 workers, you know? So it's fascinating to see SERRAL make that particular part of the game look not like a breeze, but definitely smoother. SERRAL is always the exception to the rule. He's redefined himself and reinvented himself so many times over the recent years, and I think what I love so much about SERRAL is watching him. There is a certain part of me that feels like Balance over the last few years has been, you know, slowly removing little things that he had that other people didn't even like. There were some things like the Broodlords could shoot really far in 2018, like way too far, probably a little bit broken, and they fixed that, right? But SERRAL was kind of the only guy who was really utilizing it properly, and then he just kind of swapped his style to not be as late game focused. And then, you know, like he's done tunneling claw roaches a lot. He's done 15-15 openings. He's done sneaky mutas. He's done mass mutalisks. He's done Nidus Worms. He does these roach queen drop attacks. Like he's really obsessed with mass drops at the moment. Seems to be a big part of his play, and I think he's doing really well with it. It feels like SERRAL, every time something feels a bit weaker in the map pool or the meta or the balance, he finds a way to arise above that challenge. And it feels like watching almost like a next level speedrun sort of player, where it's like at this point in StarCraft, you know, are we really watching competitive StarCraft, or are we watching the, let's see, will SERRAL lose anything? Like what challenge will SERRAL overcome next, right? And he's got two big ones in front of him right now. One's Protoss, MAXPAX, and Hero especially, and the other one is Clem. So, I mean, it's very exciting as a SERRAL fanboy to see how he accomplishes these. I already feel like SERRAL is way more exciting to watch ever since those Broodlords got nerfed after his 2018 World Championship. I think he, because he got more creative with his playstyle, and I think there's a lot of people who didn't think he'd have it in him to completely change his playstyle from such a standard defensive late game expert to a guy who has so much range and so many options. At his core, great Spore trick to defend that Oracle. That was beautiful. At his core, is he going to go for a roach push in Game 5, though, guys? I don't think so. I don't think SERRAL has it in him in Game 5. The way he's playing, he looks pretty standard, and I think he might just play the late game again. On the other hand, he's got to deal with Glaive Adepts first. 4-gate Glaive Adept, 3rd and 4th gas. Where's your Roach Warren, SERRAL? Where is that Roach Warren? It's 440. Oh, God, he's being greedy, guys. Now, you can defend this with Ling Queen, but it's tough. Especially against 4-gate. Nice Oracle Void Rate usage to clear up some creep tumors, but he's still got one in the front that can spread to the right, spread a few more in the middle. Oracle's going to come back in on that base. Roach Warren goes down, but it's a very late one. Went down about 450. 447, sorry. Has SERRAL been streaming recently? That's a good question. I haven't seen any streams. If he has any streams, you guys let me know. I'll go do some point of view casts. Adepts here getting surrounded. They're going to go down. Adept's going to go down there. So he moves back away as the Oracle comes in. And he thinks about grabbing the probes, but he goes, nah, not with the Oracle on me. Got to avoid the Oracle. 4th hatchery coming up. He has no idea about the Glaive Adepts. They're hiding in the back, guys. He's building drones. He's building Overlords. He needs to see what's happening. The Oracle is chasing him. And it's pushing back his vision, allowing these Adepts to move out. Oh, God, SERRAL. There's a hole in his vision, guys. There is a big hole in his vision. That whole middle of the map is not being watched. We're on SERRAL's camera. He's building 10 roaches. It's okay. He's building 10 roaches, and he can wall off his natural, but he needs to realize what's happening. There's an Adept here. He's got to realize what's happening. The Adepts are arriving on creep. He's pulling back. He needs to run his drones right now and get an Evo chamber up. Run to the 4th, build an Evo. He's not going to get the Evo in time. Okay, he does. He gets the Evo in time. The drones are running away. This is perfect, but... oh, God, he's going to get wall broken anyway. The Adepts just focus on it. The Adepts just focus on it. Ling's in the 3rd, though. Great counterattack for SERRAL. He says, yeah, this doesn't look good, but I'll make the most of it. Roach at the 3rd trying to defend. The Adepts here focus down only 3 drones. He already preemptively runs the drones out of the main base. His workers are running away for dear life, but he's done a great job of it. That was a disastrously late scout from SERRAL. He should have lost 20 plus workers, but he's SERRAL. He commits on to the defense, and he shuts it down by running his drones away ahead, but it's not done yet. Oracle comes in and says, there's no Spore Crawler on that base, baby. And he's going to grab 4 more drones, make it 5. Oracle with 7 kills, revelates the roaches. He knows there's roaches coming. He's got a Void Ray out front, though. SERRAL, he moves to counterattack, and he immediately realizes, ah, crap, it's a Void Ray. 2 roaches and a Creep Tumor going down. MAXPAX has him pinned. 62 workers going from 4 gates to 6 gates with Blinken +1. MAXPAX has control of this game. He's got a 2 Adepts on the right, Oracle on the left, it pulls back, and of course SERRAL down on 59 workers against 65. Great Spore trick for the first one. The Adepts still grab 2 workers and shade into the natural, where they will grab 1 more. 4 drones for 2 Adepts. Great trade there, especially because SERRAL is already bruised and bleeding. He's on lair tech, and I wonder, what is his recovery? Does he just go to late game? Does he build an infestation? He's on pure Roach Hydra right now. Doesn't feel great as a position to be in. He's trying to build Hydras off 66 workers. That is not what I was expecting. SERRAL going to chuck a Shin? Shin's been winning a lot with just Roach Hydra timings recently. SERRAL has not seen a 4th base. Starts building a few more drones after making a few Hydras, Groove Spines, +2 range coming in as well. That Void Ray over here looking for the 5th base. Infestation Pit starts up. 4 Hydras, 15 Roaches, 5 more Hydras on the way. Void Ray in the main base. Infestation Pit getting targeted, but the Hydras pop at the perfect time. They say, get out of my base, D-bag. The Void Ray is going to have to back away. I'm seeing the Infestation's big, though. MAXPAX goes, oh, okay. You're going to transition? No worries. I'm going to go 8 Gate Storm and a 4th Nexus. And, of course, that Robo is already up. So we should see a Warp Prism, an Observer, and then a Mortal Production. Very, very solid play here for MAXPAX. He's got an advantage off those Glaive Adepts, even though the supply says otherwise. This is a really late hive. You might be like, what are you talking about, Pig? SERRAL's up 20 supply. It's 20 Roach supply, which is not good supply, so you've got to find ways to use it that is creative. Nice healing on the pylon. I'm surprised the Roaches go for the pylon rather than the probes. I think he should have focused the probes there. What's he doing? SERRAL running home right now because the Stalkers are on the front. Oh, the Stalkers kind of dove on him. Oh, wow. Crazy move. I do think those Roaches could have killed 10 probes there. I think he should have ran in and just killed as many probes as he could. I think you can afford to throw a few Roaches away, but wait, can you? SERRAL's all in. SERRAL's on 69 drones. He stopped droning. He's all in on Roach Hydra. Muscular Augments isn't here yet. He's got a good position. He's going to deny the 4th. That's huge. Look at this angle. If you go down into the open, SERRAL could loop around. SERRAL needs to loop around this left with a few flanking units to try and punish him. And look, there we go. The Roach Hydra's moving down around to the left. There's a lot of units on that base. He's going to try and loop in behind. Is Storm ready, guys? Yes, it is. Lots of Storms could be available. And indeed they are. Roach Hydra pulls back from that side. The Nexus will go down. Ling Hydra catches the High Templar. Big mistake for MAXPAX. 3 High Templar go down. Great plays for SERRAL. 9 more drones go down. He rebuilds the Infestation Pit. He cancelled it before. It was a reaction, guys, because the Infestation got scouted. MAXPAX went, cool, you're going late game. And what did SERRAL do? He instantly cancelled the Infestation, went back to pure Roach Hydra production, and he tries to make it more of an all-in. But with a High Templar there with energy recharge, filling back up, 2 Storms ready, SERRAL can't press the issue. Even though he's up 50 supply, he can't do that. Warp Prism's coming out and he's droning. Oh no. Getting caught droning when a Warp Prism enters your base is a problem, but he pulls back, which is good for him. Zealot's coming on that 3rd base. Spore Crawler is shooting it, doing a bit of damage. Zealots get cleaned up. SERRAL with a quick pull. SERRAL needs a 5th base right now, guys. He's going to try and take it, but he needs to spread some units to make sure that's secure. He's going to leave 4 Hydras in the main. If he can get rid of that Prism, it'll be big. Right side base. MAXPAX desperately needing a 4th as well. He's 3 base against 4, and that is always an issue. Sorry, a little bit of a lag spike there, but it has just set itself. And the Void Ray is going to go after the Roach Hydra. Well, the Roach Hydra is going to go after it. It's going to spot the Roach Hydra, I should say. Running into that natural scary because there's immortals popping out. He can warp in units. It's a very dangerous... Oh, no, Serral! Serral with a big misclick. He cannot afford to get cornered here. Okay, he does find a few units, but you can't let yourself get cornered. That's your only army that's on the map right now. If they get isolated, you're in big trubs. No overlords on the sides of the map is a problem because the Void Ray came in. Look at this vision for Serral. It doesn't exist. He's got no edge of the map vision to see that prism until it enters that left side, which means his 5th base is in jeopardy. Hydra's well positioned, but the prism, so that's fine. I'm just going to go for your 5th base, and Serral once again has to scramble over there to defend. This distracts him. It buys a lot of time. There's 3 Immortals up. There's Psystorm up everywhere. The prism goes back to the dead space. Hydra's only get a few hits on it, so it will survive for now. If those Hydras moved over, they could do a lot of damage to it. And of course, we've got a Stalker on the Watchtower using Blink to get down there, even though it's otherwise an inaccessible position. Lings are going to break those rocks. Hydras can move over and kill the Stalker. You will see Serral do that momentarily. Stalkers blink forward, and the Stalker on the low ground does get taken out. Nice move. +1 melee as well as Seismic Spines coming in. Serral does not have a Spire. His 5th base does not have gas. It does not feel like Serral's ready for the late game. And now that MAXPAX gets a 4th, transfers all these workers over his very oversaturated main and natural. Even though he's only on 68 workers, MAXPAX has a great army. He's got a 4th. He's got good map control. He's got this dual squad. Serral's on mass Hydraling. 26 Hydras. 67 Zerglings, 7 Roaches, only 1 Lurker. He's making a few more. He's got a lot of gas. He's going to try and go for a big surround here, eat some big storms, but he's going to trap all the High Templar. Can he make this a punishing move for MAXPAX being so far forward on the map? He gets a few kills. Not sure if it's like super positive for Serral, but it is okay to shut that down. Now look at how much supply he has pinned at home from this Warp Prism. That's such a problem. I do think a single Viper to deal with that might be worth. That's too much supply though, guys. That's like 15 supply. He's got 8 supply there for a 6 supply allocation from Protoss. So he's got to be very careful, does Serral. And the longer this goes, the more MAXPAX gets established in the late game. Serral did take him down in the late game earlier on ley lines. A map where it looked like he was getting hammered for a long time. Archon comes too far forward. Serral gets a snipe. Alright, that Lurker got picked off. Would Muta Infesta be better? Muta Infesta is not a good... That's not a composition. Mutas are a harassment unit. They're a surprise unit. They can be used to fly around and do base tradey sort of scenarios, but not at this sort of supply level. You have to surprise your opponent with them, get him out much earlier. Stalkers, Storms, 3 Stargates making Phoenix, going to rip that apart. Prism on the left side, hanging out. Lurker's going to try to maybe run into the natural, could be good. I like that MAXPAX is sitting on 4 base for so long. It's a good call. Looks like the Prism maybe came in and walked in some Zealots, or maybe they just ran in the front. I'm not quite sure. Queens plus the Lurkers defend. Prism. Oh, he sneaks into the back of the main, does he? Sees the Greater Spire. But the Hydras at least notice it. Good moves for Serral, and Serral can bring these Lurkers forwards. He's got Lurkers over there, and he's like, where's your 5th, bro? MAXPAX is like, dude, I'm not going to give you an angle. I know you're going to pick away at me if I take a 5th. So MAXPAX is just like, add +3, add air weapons. Serral, he's going +3 of his own. I wouldn't mind a second Evo. You know, get some carapace upgrades for the late game. I think that really helps the Zerglings excel later on. That bottom right base gets isolated. A couple of Roaches getting picked off. This is a very good little army. Where's Mama? Mama's on the left side. Lurkers getting spotted by that. It's a lot of Lurkers. 2 of them are going to go down real early. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh my lord! The Lurkers just get blitzed. Serral overcommitting there. Meanwhile, Warp Prism finds its way into his back door. His Hydras were not there. They're up in the main base. Big army coming back here. I don't think Serral's getting these Lurkers out. Is he? No. Tempest on the right. Immortals and Archons on the left. That is a slaughter. Oh, a huge mistake, guys. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to. Oh, 16 Lurkers have gone down. He's only behind 1,700 resources. Goes to show, until that move, Serral was smashing MAXPAX in the combat. Head-to-head fighting, he was doing really well. But he loses 16 Lurkers and a lot of his momentum. A lot of his bankers being drained. The next fight could decide this game. If there's a big battle right now, they both don't have a gas bank. They've just got minerals, which is not going to be great for remaxing. There's no spores on this right side just yet. The Corruptors, the Lurkers trying to move into position. MAXPAX has got to be careful. It's a good pre-spread from Serral. Lings up front. Lurkers, Corruptors coming in from behind. A little clump there, trying to chase this army down. There's so much Psystorm. The Corruptors are going to clear the Tempests at least, and he will be able to clear the Tempests and then get out of there. The Stalkers on the ground doing something. Hydras go a bit too far forward. They do take out an Immortal, but they do go down. Corruptors need to run. Meanwhile, the counter push in the middle. Infesta lands a Fungal, but the Lurkers aren't quite in range. That time warp a deadly zoning tool. There's no overseers here either. MAXPAX recalls the army from the bottom right to the middle. He's going for broke. He says, let's go hard or go home. Corruptors on the wrong side of the map. They can't help deal with the mothership right now. Hydra's trying to build. MAXPAX shoving up the guts right now. SERRAL, his rally point's getting ripped apart. His Corruptors are trying to go kill the Nexus, but he needs to come home and deal with the mothership. He doesn't have any units. He's got only 3 Lurkers and 7 Hydras. He's lost so many Lurkers over the last few minutes. I love that his Corruptors are unzipping their flying, going wee-wee, but as insulting as that is to the Protoss players who are losing their Nexi, oh, he doesn't quite get it. He breaks the stream just before completion, doesn't get the double Nexus, and MAXPAX decisively shoves up the rally point and punishes him. So many Lurkers went down, 24, and he never really had a chance to rebuild his Lurker count after the previous screw-up. So after these Lurkers went down, even though it looked like he was jumping on that army in the bottom right, he didn't have enough to do other stuff, right? He's going after that army, and he just didn't have anything to defend the other side, right? He has a few spores and 5 Lurkers, but while he's busy jumping down there, those 5 Lurkers are trying to like move here, and then he's like, oh crap. And MAXPAX gets position and time warps and jumps on them, and they're just unsupported Lurkers. And those Lurkers get taken down. These Lurkers are out of position. And remember, Lurkers are a siege unit. They're not good at chasing this army up into your base. So really good movement by MAXPAX, and hard to have detection and siege units to get back here and defend it. MAXPAX wins 3-2. An impressive feat. And I got to say, a very evenly matched series here. SERRAL pulling out all the stops, but MAXPAX looking a bit too tight in this series. Gets the 3-2 victory and goes to the upper bracket finals.